Hey guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts video. I'm here with Will and Mojo, and they're already making fun of me.
You're the one yawning.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it, alright? It's almost bedtime for all of us. Well, not Mojo, but
It's almost coffee time. What are you talking about?
yeah, coffee time for you. You're in some weird part of the world. Anyway, so this one is written by our seating. He stops by Will's chat quite often, and he's pretty much the optimization guy, hence the title. Optimizations, always more optimizations. And this, even though we're not specifically mentioned, we kind of guess that what he talks about here is based on something we brought up to him. I think Mojo, you complained to him quite a bit about this, and he like didn't understand, and then now finally fixed it.
Yeah, it says he didn't believe it at first, and then when he tried to save, it was like, the revelation.
Yeah. So, GUI performance. Essentially, and anyone who obviously plays Factorio will probably know this. You know, the production window, the train window, and then something, the blueprint window, I think. Some part of the blueprint window are really laggy when you open them.
Yeah, when you draw a big blueprint, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really laggy, and it's annoying, right? Like in our multiplayer game, none of us can really open the train management window because it lags us out pretty much completely.
Yeah,
In production almost does the same thing.
Just about. Yeah, production I fall behind if I have it too long, and trains I can grab one off the top of the train, like the first row, if I'm quick, but that's it.
Yeah, you immediately fall behind, and then you lose control of the GUI.
Yeah, and if you can't close the GUI because you've fallen behind, you'll never catch back up.
That was actually one thing I did point out to him. That was the main one I was pointing out to our seating, but he doesn't comment on that one. As if you lose complete control of the game if you have a GUI open when you fall behind because the GUI's open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, so what I'm not going to read all this, but essentially, what the problem was for the production stats GUI, it had to render an icon, a progress bar, and some text for every item in the view, and that view changes each game tick, obviously, because your production always is fluctuating. So he figured out a better way to do it. He says, you know, the graph was very poorly implemented, and every line in the graph was done one at a time and sent out to the graphs card. And Posila fixed it by batching all the lines and then sending out the final result in one call. So hopefully the production window should be much better in 0.15. And then the train one, which is the big one, he says he did some previous like small optimizations for it in 0.13 several months ago, but then so he says, I think this is taken from our example or from what Mojo and we were telling him. He says, so when someone commented that the game would drop to 2 FPS when they opened the window, I didn't believe them, but when I tested their save, because I sent our save into him, he requested it, they were right. So yeah, essentially the train window just completely lags you out when it does depend on the amount of trains, obviously. Like if you just have like 2 trains on your map, it's not really going to do anything. But when we have like 250, it just freezes the game.
Not my fault.
Yeah, it's all Will's fault. We shouldn't let him go outposting anymore.
You gave me permission.
In saying that, it does happen if you have, say, 10 trains on a very big map.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I've found it happen on big multiplayer maps with only a handful of trains. Some of the mass multiplayer maps had that.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. So it's kind of interesting how he actually explains it. What the problem is. He says, say you have 200 trains on your map and the view is showing 50 of them. So when you open the train management, you know, initially shows 50. It says each view would render its own train plus any trains in that immediate area, which ended up being roughly all of them in packed factories. And the end result was you'd get 50 times 50 trains being rendered, which ends up being very slow. So it would kind of just render like every train multiple times over, which is far from optimal, obviously. So he said he cleaning up the trains, how the trains are drawn on the minimap. I gave it a nice boost, and he said he still has some additional ideas on how to improve it, but at least it's manageable now for 0.15. So, you know, that's good.
It's a good find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the blueprint one, the blueprint tooltip preview is what the issue was. I'm not exactly sure what that actually is referring to.
I believe that's when you're holding a blueprint and it's showing that ghost of what you intend on placing.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had that when you if you're building, like when we're moving the smelters around, it's very slow. You have to line it up tile perfect can take a while because you can't really move it around much.
Right. So he said this stumped him for quite a while, but he did finally figure out a way to do it. He says, finally, recently I found that we did 0 batching of sprites to be drawn when rendering the GUI. For every sprite that we would draw, it would go out to the graphics card and tell it to drop. Fixing that was as simple as turning a flag on, and now it has no measurable impact. So, kind of one of those weird little code things where it's like a tiny little fix just, you know, completely removes the issue.
Yep.
So then, the last one, which is not really relevant to almost anybody because it's like one of the most obscure bugs I've ever seen. So
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah, me neither. So weird long-standing bugs. Essentially, while he was testing stuff, he found a bug with a very, very specific placement and like movement of trains that caused the game to crash. And it's really weird, right? So he said nothing I changed could possibly affect the save in this way, because he would like make a small change, right, and then load up a save to see how it affected it, and then, you know, load up a bigger save if it didn't have a negative effect. But the changes he made said shouldn't affect this. So he says, after a few hours of testing, I found a long-standing bug with trains that has hyper-specific requirements. That is maybe even an understatement. To reproduce, that I happened to only reproduce because I had a typo and an unrelated optimization I was working on. So, to produce this bug, you have to build 2 locomotives directly next to each other and disconnect the 2 locomotives from each other, so they're not one train, and then drive the front one all the way into the back of the, drive the front locomotive into the rear one such that it can't move backwards, right? So slam it into the back one, and then drive the rear one into the front one so it can't move anymore, and then build a cargo wagon on the end of the rear locomotive. But you have to make sure the cursor was more towards it, so they actually cargo wagon snaps behind the back locomotive, and then try to drive the rear locomotive. And you have to drive it forward too for this to happen.
Drive
and
it forward
it'll crash
into
the
the
game. Into the other one.
Into the other one, yeah.
How the hell did he find that?
How the hell did anyone find that?
But what series of events actually has to happen? The 2 trains have crashed into each other. Oh, I know. I'll place a wagon on the back of it.
Well, it sounds like something we'd do. Like our little like crumple buffer.
Oh, the crumple buffer.
I don't think.
Yes, go there again.
I feel like no one actually did find it except him.
Mm-hmm.
The way he says it sounds like he just happened to find it for the first time, like anyone else.
How do you find that? How do you do that series of events?
I don't know. I don't know what he was doing, but but it is a really weird thing. So pretty much that's the Friday Facts. Optimizations, you know, it's always good to hear. GUI optimizations are nice because we've kind of been plagued with that issue for quite a while with those production and train windows and stuff lagging you pretty horribly, and I'm glad that they're finally getting around to fixing it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also cool that, you know, they've taken a save that we've done and it's being used to fix the like update the current game. Because I think I've seen a couple of comments saying that we should send the save to the devs, and I've been replying, we have.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Here they are using it.
Yeah, which is really nice. I'm glad he actually managed to find some optimizations from it.
Yep, and fix a bug, of course.
Yeah, a bug that nobody ever found. But hey, who knows? You know, maybe it will have some kind of weird improvement somewhere else by fixing the bug. I don't know. But it's never a bad thing to fix the bug. So that's it. That's Friday Facts. You guys have any other thoughts?
More trains. Need more trains.
Yeah, we need more trains. Now they just need to figure out a way to fix the track lag.
That is probably our number one worry going into 15, I would say.
Yeah, that's actually more of an issue, really, than anything else at this point.
Yeah, because as it stands, we are still going to have to shut down the base to build track.
Mm-hmm. Our seating may work on it, because he did mention he was like, if you remember, he was like going to some train seminar or something to figure out how trains worked, and then he said he was going
to be in Prague this week or last week to have a few meetings about it.
Yeah, he's going to learn. He's got to learn how trains work, because I don't think he's touched that part of the code. So I guess he needs to know how they work at the moment before he goes messing with stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully he finds a fix. I mean, I think it's fairly straightforward, like, what's causing it. I mean, we even know what causes it. It's the locomotives being on automatic, you know, because when we turn them all to manual with CAN's command, there's no track lag. That when they're stopped and on manual, there's no lag at all.
Yeah. And we've already said that the trains just don't need to know that track's been placed. Just stop them from being told, basically. Because if they're not up, you know, the new track laid, it doesn't affect them. They'll figure it out next time they start their journey.
Or even if they do, like, maybe they do some sort of check, like, within a certain distance from themselves, like, every so often, and some sort of, like, round-robin thing, like how CAN's minor hack or mod thing did, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because, I mean, if you place a track, like, you know, somewhere, like, that's actually going to affect a train that's moving, that's an issue. But the real problem is when we're placing track, you know, 50 miles away out in the wilderness trying to build an outpost, the trains elsewhere have no reason to, there's no reason they should be worried about track replacing, you know, 100 miles from them.
Indeed.
So, I think that'll do it for this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. You know, whatever. Not too much to it, but still pretty interesting. And hopefully we are nearing 015. It would be fantastic if they were actually on their mark for end of March, early April, but we'll see. But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Hopefully we'll all still be alive by the sound of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
He may not be with us. We better end it here.
And on that bombshell, I think